Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome to all. Our Path to Anandam series, freedom from pains and miseries to happy, healthy, and peaceful life. And today is our series number 11, Awaken Your 5 Spiritual Senses. Based on chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga, verse 58, and taken from 108 mantras to awaken your soul. Pranam to Guruji, Hariharji Maharaj. With his blessings, we are gathered here today. And founded Path to Anandam. I'm Satya Kalra, your host and founder of Path to Anandam. We guide how to be happy through teachings of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and practice. Our sessions are based on how to practice the teachings of Bhagavad Gita to enhance the quality of daily life and beyond. So thank you very much for guiding, giving your messages to us. Thank you, Guruji. In today's series 11, we'll be discussing, I will be giving the presentation on 5 senses and how to convert these 5 senses into a divine senses, spiritual senses. Why we should do that? How can we transform them? Action, practices, and sankalpa. And of course, the tip of the day, meditation and question and answers. So we start with our very first sankalpa, which we took in the second series. I am Arjuna. I will do as you advise. So seeking guidance as Arjuna from Lord Krishna. Karpanye dosho pahat swabhava paschyami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yachasaisyani nishchitam bruhitan me Shishyasteham chadimam tvam prapanyam. Shishyasteham chadimam tvam prapanyam. My heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all of my composure and my mind is confused about my duty, dharma. I'm requesting you to tell me what is definitely good for me, not that what I want. Tell me what is good for me. I am your disciple. I surrender to you. Please instruct me. I will follow your advice on this blissful journey of self-transformation, self-purification, and uplifting my consciousness. I surrender to you. Please guide me. See, Arjuna was so fortunate. He had a divine company, Lord Krishna, who became his teacher, and Arjuna himself became a student. And Lord Krishna guided him through Bhagavad Gita, gave him a step-by-step instruction manual to operate his life, our life, righteously. Gita teaches us how to awaken our spiritual senses, develop equanimity, the calmness of mind, and attain eternal happiness, peace, while living in this world and also beyond, experiencing our true being, Sat Chit Ananda. So through 574 verses, Lord Krishna guided Arjuna, starting verse in chapter 2:11, guiding him who we are, what is the purpose of our life, and how to attain it. Through these 574 verses, the very last verse, in chapter 18, 66, he assures us that once we are on this path, he will take care of us. Our job is only to make sure we live righteously. We convert every karma, every action of our into dharma, selfless service. And we started this, and we are still going through this karma yoga, art of work. And through art of work, we can experience our true being, realize who we are. And while in the karma yoga, Lord Krishna taught several things to Arjuna. But the main thing, he told him, do your action without expecting the fruit of action. In other words, have an aimful life, have a goals in life, but do not be attached to the outcome. Do your best. And that can be done only when our mind is stable. And he calls it buddhi yukta. And Arjuna gets very confused when Lord Krishna says, buddhi yukto jahan piye ubhe sukra dushkate. Tasmad yoga yogasva yoga karme sukoshnam. Doing every action which takes you to higher self, higher conscious level. Experience the presence of God, God realization. I'm no different than God. So that action is the best action, yoga karme sukoshnam. And Arjuna gets very confused because Lord Krishna also told him that whatever you do, every action must bring you to higher self. And He, being a Kshatriya, he did not understand that. What is Lord Krishna is talking about? The only thing he knows, how to fight the best of his ability. However, in this war, Kurukshetra war, he could not perform. He gave up. He went into Vishad, where he says, Na Jotasiti Govindam. Now Lord Krishna is taking him gradually to go and fight and fulfill your responsibilities as a Kshatriya. Your job is to protect the society. But when he sees his family members, near and dear ones, he says, Na Jotasiti Govindam, because he was overtaken by the attachment with his ego, that these are his relatives. He's the one who's fighting for it. So he cannot fight. His body gave up. He was shivering and sat back on the chariot. And that's where Lord Krishna guides him. He tells him, calm down, be stable, be sthit prajna. And then Arjuna asked, he got very confused, this new word, equanimity, sthit prajna. Be sthit prajna. And he asked these 4 questions to Lord Krishna, and he says, what are the hallmarks of enlightened person, or the person who is in trance, who is sthit prajna? How does he speak? What language he speaks? How does he sit? How does he walk? And then Lord Krishna answers his questions, which very first answer he gives. And he says, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan manogatan atma ev atmana tushta sthit pragasya do uchyate. He says, hey Arjun, when one gives up all the selfish desires which arise from the craving of senses from his mind completely and feels fully satisfied in himself, herself within, then he is called sthit prajna. In other words, he is equanimous. His mind is stable. He is in pure transcendental consciousness. And he can experience who he is. He is truly a Satchit Ananda. So calmness of the mind, the stability of the mind is called sthit prajna. Then he asked another question. Tell me, how does he sit? How does he walk? He says, Yada sairate chayam kurmo agniv sarvasha indriyani indriyarthe bestasya pragya pratishta. When one can completely withdraw the senses from the sense objects, as a turtle withdraws its limbs into the shell for protection, is considered steady intellect, equanimity. And now Arjuna is more confused. How could you control your senses? Lord Krishna is asking him to control your senses like a turtle. We have these senses, 5 senses: eyes, ears, nose, mouth, hands, and eyes see, ears hear, Mouth tastes and speaks. The tongue is tastes and speaks. Nose smells and breathes and touches, feels it. And he tells him also that whatever you see with your eyes, whatever you hear, these are all in the external world. And he previously tells him these are all temporary. But we all have a craving. Whatever our eyes see, we want that. I remember in old time when I used to go to parties and people wear good saris, or I see some other saris or jewelry, and first thing my mind will say, I want to have this, my desire will come. If I hear something good, I like it, somebody appreciates me, I like it, somebody criticizes me, I get upset. We listen to the gossips. We taste. Sometimes we like chaat, golgappas, and many foods, sweet food, rasgullas, cakes, pastries. And when we see it, or even when we think about it, we want that. Again, previously when I used to see advertisement of Coke on the TV, I would immediately get up from my sofa and bring the Coke and drink, because I immediately get that craving of drinking sofa and drinking Coke. When we feel something, we like to touch more. When we don't like something, like thorn, something, we like to touch the rose, but we don't want to touch the thorn. We like to touch the babies, feel good. And we have a craving to do more. We want to smell good flowers, good perfumes. We don't want to smell in the bathrooms. All these senses have a likes and dislikes. How can we utilize these senses from the external world, which gives us a lot of craving, to internal being satisfied within ourselves? And Lord Krishna guides. He says, he gives such a good example of a turtle here. He says, just like a turtle, he has a very soft senses, organs, and he keeps them under his shell. And when he needs them, he takes them out. Or otherwise, he keeps them inside. Here you can see it. These are out and these are he's completely in the shell. So he pulls them back. So Lord Krishna is saying, be like a turtle. Use your organs, your senses, only for what you need. But don't be running around these objects, which gives you the craving of the objects, of the senses. We must have a control on it. In other words, when we see what we see, we should see the goodness in others rather than judging others. Everyone has something good to offer. When we hear, rather than hearing the gossips, we should hear divine messages. We should hear our inner voice. We should taste. We should speak. We should not eat the food which is not good, which comes from hurting others, living beings. We should eat the food which is more sattvic food. We should speak sweetly, nicely, and say nice word to other people. We should do seva with our hands, which feels good. We should go and help others. But how should we do it? We try to do it, but sometimes we can do it, sometimes we cannot do it. And then he says, okay, here is another secret I give you. Live in my consciousness. In other words, whatever you do, just assume you're doing it for my creation. And how you get connected with that? Have your own mantra. So with your nose, when you're breathing, breathe with your mantra, with good thoughts. Whether it could be Om mantra, it could be whatever mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, or whatever resonates with your system. And while doing it, practicing this goodness, seeing good, hearing good, speaking good, doing good, you will experience the divinity within you. Your sense organs will be leading you. They will transform into regular senses to divine senses, the spiritual senses. They become the spiritual senses. They take you on the spiritual path. And then you experience your true being, Satchit Ananda. And this secret, this practice is not just limited to the Karma Yoga. It's for the Bhakti Yoga, for Jnana Yoga. In other words, not just how we should perform our duty or we should be calm to perform our duty, but also calm ourselves with, when we are doing with love and compassion, it gives us more and love and compassion for others and ourselves, which is the Bhakti Yoga. And then it gives us the wisdom. Our inner voice speaks to us. We experience the true Jnana that we are Satchit Ananda. We have the purpose of our life to experience it. So this converting, bringing the equanimity within us by converting our sense organs, our 5 senses into divine senses, takes us to ultimate goal of life, the purpose of life, and experience our true being. Because our senses are our weak points. They give us a lot of desires by seeing, by looking, as I mentioned before. When the desire comes, when it gets fulfilled, we want more, our greed comes. When we don't get it, we get upset, we get angry. No matter what desires it is, worldly desires, whatever we see in the external world, and that craving for the external desires are fulfilling. First of all, we cannot fulfill all the desires because one is fulfilled, the second one comes. So desires takes us to disaster of our life. That's why Satya Sai Baba always says, put ceiling on your desires. Because these desires really hurt us. It makes us crazy, basically. We run after them. They hit us hard. Like in boxing, very good phrase is hit where it hurts. That's what the boxers use, that technique. They hurt another boxer where it hurts them the most, and they win. Similarly, these desires, these senses hit us. Our eyes hit us, our ears hit us, our regular senses hit us into the different objects which hurt us, which creates more desire in us. So we should transform these senses into the divine senses, the spiritual senses, and which takes us on the spiritual journey through karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, and ultimately it takes us to fulfill the purpose of our life. So the other question comes, hallmarks of spiritual or equanimous person. Lord Krishna says, Dukheshu dugnamana, Dukheshu vignamana, Sukheshu vigat sprasha, Vitirag bhai krodha, Sthir muni, Sthir dhirya muni uchyate. In other words, a person is called a sage of steadfast wisdom, Muni, whose mind is not disturbed by sorrow, not attracted toward pleasure and happiness, and free from attachment, fear and anger. In other words, he's fully satisfied. He's not disturbed with these desires. He's free from desires, anger. He does not get angry so easily. And he has balanced on his needs. He's free from attachments. He does not get disturbed if he gets something or he does not get something. In other words, he's always here balanced, not sukha dukha, kabhi sukhi, kabhi sukh, kabhi dukh, kabhi khushi, kabhi gam. He's always balanced. And he's not fearful of the future or what would happen to him if his desires are not fulfilled. And of course, he's not jealous of others when he does not get it and others people get it. He's fully satisfied. Just like Arjuna. When Arjuna initially said, Najotasiti Govindam, but when Lord Krishna guided him with this knowledge of Sthit Prajna, be equanimous, be calm, then he understood that he's a Kshatriya. His responsibility is to protect the society. And where he said before, Najotasiti Govindam, now he says, Karishe Vachanam Tau, I will do as you advise. So be an Arjuna, because we are all Arjuna. We get into many situations with attachments, with our ego, with our anger, and we say, we don't want to do this thing, and we want to do this thing, and we are angry, and we are upset, and all that. But when our mind is calm, we are not worried about it. All this fear and worries and ego and attachments. And when we are self-satisfied within ourselves, not affected with the senses, 5 senses. In other words, driven crazy. I call it driven crazy with our 5 senses and egos and desires. Then we are self-satisfied. And then we feel connection of our body, mind, and higher consciousness, which is a supreme power. So the benefits, we develop more calmness, we are more content, humble, forgiving, we have more tendency to surrender, we are fearless, we enjoy our life, and we are more silent like a Muni. Muni means mourn, silence. So we become more silent and we could hear our inner voice. And we feel more in love, peace, and Anandam. So homework here, I call it AAA strategy again. Self-inquiry, awareness. So ask the question, am I satisfied? Because this page is so important for practice. Practice, practice, practice. Gita, we have to understand. But unless we practice it, we cannot transform ourselves. We cannot uplift ourselves. As Lord Krishna said to Arjuna, go beyond your limitations. Nistre guno bhav Arjuna. Transform yourself. Uplift yourself. So first we have to become aware of it, where we are. So ask the questions. And once we ask those questions, make a list of our desires and what disturbs our mind. What brings unhappiness? What steals my smile? What brings the stress on my shoulders? Make me heavy. Then we again repeat. Work on these at a time. When we make the list, work on one thing at a time. And what are the desires are disturbing us? And as I said, Satya Sai Baba says, put ceiling on that desires. So what is necessary for me? What is my need? Or is this my want? Because we cannot fulfill our wants. It's like a mirage. The closer we go, it disappears. And then another one comes. The more we run, the more we exhaust ourselves. And so offer all of our desires to God. Control our senses from external world objects, their objective. And practice goodness. In other words, change the direction of our senses to more divinity. And focus on our inner being rather than the external world. And then do our best and let go. We might sometimes succeed. Sometimes we might feel that we failed. Many litmus tests will come in our life, many challenges. Some challenges we can face very easily. Other challenges, sometimes we fall, like we go one step backward, our emotions come, our five senses sometimes might say something, might feel differently, might start judging, might start hearing something that we're not supposed to hear. All those senses might do the regular work, which is extra for the external world, or focusing on the craving of the external world, but focus on the inner being. And when we focus on the inner being, we might sometime fall. Like I call it, the car is going in the steer in one lane, the steering wheel of my mind is in my hands. And sometimes it might go sideways. But the steering wheel, the mind must be in my hand. I must be the master of my mind to control my senses. But if I don't, some certain times, if I feel like if I'm one step went backward, don't feel guilty, don't feel bad. Do your best and let go. Have a faith in supreme power. As he says in the very last verse of chapter 18 of his verse, 1866, Sarva dharman paritajye mamekam sharanam braj Aham tvam sarpapebhyo mokshashyami ma shucha. So I will take care of you. Your job is only one. Be on this spiritual path and leave the rest to me. So we should just do our best. Just let go. Let go. Let go. So our sankalpa is number 11. I awaken my divine senses. I am equanimous. I am calm. And then we can experience happy, healthy, and peaceful life. So I am happy, I am healthy, and I am peaceful. I experience, I am Satya Ananda. We become like a lake. We will experience some of the stones when are thrown in the lake. Some of the water spills and it goes in different directions. We might also get sidetracked, but we will come back like a lake, calm. So continue to be on this journey because it is not an activity, it is a lifestyle. So continue to be on this journey. Have a sankalpa. So thank you very much for attending. Awaken your 5 divine senses and experiencing healthy, happy, and peaceful life. An inner being, Sat Chit Ananda.